Good day. I am Angela. I have been working as a virtual assistant for the property VA for I think 3 years already. So yeah. As for my daily routine as a virtual assistant, actually I have two tasks to accomplish and it should be done every other day. So first, I have to update the booking spreadsheet for an Airbnb business. Second, on their official Instagram account, I have to follow other business accounts, maybe a restaurant, salon, cafe, bars, or such. So, for example, on Monday, I will have to update the sheets. On Tuesday, I will do Instagram engagement, so something like that. Then, after every task, I always make sure to update my client with regards to my accomplishments. Basically, I send my client daily accomplishment report. So that's it for my daily routine.
And that's a nice and concise description of your daily routine. Thanks for sharing that, Angela. Now, what I'd really like to show our viewers is if you can share your screen so they can see your daily work landscape, what platforms you use, how you organize your tasks.
So let me just share my screen. So for my first task, I have to update the booking spreadsheet. So what I do first is I open this drive. So we have here the folders, properties, and every folder, there will be a specific booking spreadsheet. So for example, for this one. And then I go to 2024 bookings. So we have here January to December. And then after that, I log in to Smooth.
So your client uses LastPass to share
Yeah,
login information with you, right? I think
yeah,
for me it's one of my favorite tools to work with a VA because obviously you need your VA to access the platforms that you're subscribed to that help you run your business. But at the same time, you need to consider security. So you don't want to give your VA your exact login details. And so how do you then get the VA to log in without sharing the actual passwords? Well, we've got password managers that essentially do that job. So you get to log into the sites that your clients need you to log into, but your client doesn't need to share the actual login information. So platforms such as LastPass and a few others that are also favorites essentially do the job of giving you access without sharing the login information.
yeah. I also agree. And actually, it's very convenient as well on my end because I don't have to memorize all of the passwords for every account.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when I log in to LastPass, I go to Smooth. And this is my way of checking if there's a new client,
A new
basically a new
booking.
client for an Airbnb. And then I go back to the booking spreadsheet. So we have here the file name Greer
Mhm.
Street. So Greer Street is actually when you go back to Smugu, that's 2BR Home MCR. So I go here. So for example, on January 2024, we have here Della. She booked December 28, 2023 until January 2024. So since the spreadsheet will only show January 2024, I will start on January 1 to January 3. And then I will just put the details, the name of the client, how many persons, how many nights, and then the prices. So I just list it down here. So it's easier for my client to check and to track as well who gets to stay on the specific place.
Yeah,
Yes, go ahead.
sorry. Can you tell me in terms of using platforms that automate bookings, why is it that clients will still need somebody to create this spreadsheet with all of the bookings in one place?
Actually, on my end, I believe that it's very convenient, especially if you have to organize things. Because when you go here on Sumubu, it's kind of overwhelming. Okay, let me go back. It's kind of overwhelming to see these kinds of, like, for example, for 2023, just so we could see, for example, like this. It's kind
Mhm.
of hard to track. Like, for example, you still have to click.
Right. So there's too many steps that you need to take just to
Yes,
see that
exactly.
one information, and you only ever get to see one booking at a time. Whereas if it's in a
Yes.
spreadsheet, how you've organized it, the client can essentially view a lot more information without clicking too many things, and everything's kind of in front of him. He may need
Yeah.
to switch from one tab to another if, like in this instance, the booking overflows from 2023 to 2024. It should be so much easier for your client to have an overview of all the guests and the bookings because it's all in one spreadsheet.
Yeah, that's correct. So if I could just show you a 2023 spreadsheet, so it would be easier to track as mentioned because the client would be able to see the breakdown of the fees, how much came in and came out, something like that. So let me just share another report for 2023.
So this is the overview for the whole year.
Yes, that's right.
Fantastic.
So that's for the first task. So
So you
let
do
me
this
check.
every other day. So your
Yes.
schedule is, or your routine is that Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you look after the Airbnb tasks. And in between Tuesdays and Thursdays, you take over the social media management part of your client's operations.
Yes, that's correct. So for the second part, so I actually prepared a spreadsheet here just so would be able to track. So I have here the Instagram handles or the usernames, location, classification, it's a cafe, restaurant, bar, theme park, and so on and so forth, and the status. So what I do is I just basically search UK, for example, UK Manchester Salon Instagram. So all of the salons in Manchester would pop up here. So for example, for this one, I'll just open this and then I always make sure to follow. So for this one, I copy the name and then I go back here. I will look for Manchester Salon. I'll just add another row and then I will add name or the username. I'll just copy the details and then I will click follow status.
Curious to know, I mean, your client runs an Airbnb. Why is he asking you to follow salons, restaurants, cafes? What does that have to do with his Airbnb?
Actually, I believe that it's to increase social media presence. For example, for restaurants, salons, cafe, bars, and such, it it has a certain target audience or a target
Mhm.
market. When his account reaches those accounts from different target markets, he gets to cater different kinds of customers as well. So that would be an increased social media presence and a good marketing strategy for his business as well to increase booking from different kinds of people.
Okay, so I think from a business point of view, as well as a lead generation and marketing, he's probably identified that the clients who use these services, the salons, cafes, and restaurants, would be the same clientele or same target market that he's aiming for to be his Airbnb guests.
Yeah, I also agree.
Okay, fantastic.
So, as mentioned, every after task, I send my client a daily accomplishment report. So, this is what it looks like. So, for example, for Monday, happy Monday, January 29. Always make sure to put the date, Instagram engagements, follow with Instagram accounts, updated the reference spreadsheet. The next day, I updated or checked the status of the following booking sheets to these properties. So this is the daily accomplishment report I send to my client, just for him to check what I do every day.
I like that, because I am sure there are clients out there who work with VAs that really frustrate them if they have to be the one to chase the VA. VA, can you please send me a report? How do I know you're working? But what you're doing is, and this is what I always put in my VA manual for all the VAs who work for me, you need to be proactive and you need to be the one to essentially volunteer the information to your client. Don't wait for your client to check on you to see what you're doing. Our work ethic dictates that we are the ones to report to the client, hey, client, this is what I've accomplished today, and these are my pending tasks if you have them. But essentially, what you're doing is you're not waiting for your client to check in on you, which I think saves a lot of stress and grief on the clients. And in fact, what I can see here is that pretty much the client leaves you alone to do your work.
Yeah, I agree. So basically, you just, send a thumbs up here, a reaction just to
Yes,
acknowledge my daily
and that's
accomplishment
all he
report.
needs.
Yeah.
He's confident that he's left you to work independently, to not have to bother him with unnecessary questions, so that you can get on with your work. He can get on with running the business as well. And then he knows he's got the security that at the end of the day, you'll just send him a report of what tasks have been accomplished.
Yeah, I also agree.
Are you able to share with us what sort of improvements and changes that you were able to implement for your client's business?
First and foremost, I consider myself as an organized person. So, in relation to my daily routine, daily tasks, for example, for Instagram engagements, as I have showed you a while ago, I have made a spreadsheet tracker wherein all of the accounts I have followed for the day, I put it there so my client will be able to see if there are any changes or which accounts I follow to increase social media presence, specifically on Instagram. And I also mentioned that this is very important for tracking and for example, for increased social media presence. So They get to also market their business properly with a good marketing strategy. And then as for the second task, I always make sure that I update the spreadsheet from time to time, because when I actually started with my client, it had months of backlogs. So it was very hard to track what came in, what came out, something like that. So it was very hard for the client to track the monthly expenses, monthly income. So I think that's one of the highlight of my daily routine. Just be organized, just give assurance to your client that you're doing what you're supposed to do, basically.
You described that with such humility, Angela. I'm pretty sure what to you seems like a simple task. You've actually not just freed up your client's time, but essentially you've created quite a transformation, really. You've organized the way his Airbnb and service accommodation business is run. You've also attended to probably what he's neglected for a while as well, his social media presence, and all that for how many hours a week are you taking on?
I have 2 hours a day times five. So
10 hours. It sounds like it's not a lot of hours, does it? 2 hours a day, 10 hours a week. But if your client were to do this, it wouldn't equal 10 hours a week, would it? It would probably equal either 3 or 4 hours of his time every day, or that these tasks just simply will not get done. So it isn't just that he's now saved 10 hours a week. What he's actually done is he saved himself off his own time 30 to 40 hours a week, as well as opportunity and business cost for not having looked after these tasks. So I think you're doing such an amazing job for your client, Angela, and I'm pretty sure you're such an asset for his business. You've added so much value and you've created all of this transformation. And for that, from the Property VA, I thank you so much for your hard work.
thank you as well for the trust.